So the other day, Clownfish TV put up an article on their YouTube channel, basically entitled that toys toys are for adults now, not for kids. And the reason they, talked about this and as a video was because various articles and outlets have pretty much, I guess, in their own personal opinion, officially confirmed that basically most of the toys that are being bought are not being bought by young kids or preschoolers and all that. Now, you might say to yourself, well, how can a preschooler or a young kid buy toys? If it's, mainly the parents that have the money. And there is a thing called allowances. And most of the time, a kid that has an allowance, even a preschool kid, will go out and buy a toy that they've been wanting to get, or they'll get a toy for as a reward. And every time they get that toy, after they pay for it, basically, a lot of the sellers, or the, I guess you could say receipt checkers and all that, they will see that mostly it's a kid that's holding on to that toy. Um, so, so basically that's how they kind of figure, that preschoolers, young kids are buying toys. I guess from their own data and all that they collect. Um, but when it comes to this report, this article among others, it feels like what they're noticing is that adults like myself are outpacing. We're basically running away with, the purchasing of toys and stuff. And sometimes we purchase them in quantities, if you will, like the same toy over and over, mainly to, have one for ourselves and then sell the other through a third-party marketplace, like our own websites, or like eBay or Amazon Marketplace and so on. And that is indeed true. But there's also the fact that we as adults, I think the reason we're looked at as the ones that purchase toys more so than anything is because of the fact that we now see the value in it. Like back when we were kids, in the 80s, the 90s, and even the 70s, maybe even the early 2000s, we didn't see the value in a toy. We didn't. We just saw something we could play with and, just throw around and stuff like that. We didn't see the value. Now we do. Now we do see the value. I mean, when you look at something like these here, I have them displayed, just, where I want them. And and what I'm trying to say is, and as you could see, they look like they're in perfect condition. They look in decent condition. They just, have to be dusted here and there. But, you know, kids as well will do the same thing, but sometimes young kids that will do the same thing will take the toy and start playing with it, and maybe out of a fit of anger throw it and it'll break. Or if a young kid, a kindergartner, a preschooler, has something like a Tempest Shadow, in their collection, in their toy chest or whatever, they could just have that Tempest Shadow just scattered about, on the floor and just forget about it. And then when they go to play with it, they might play with it rough and break it. The same thing with the Optimus Prime right there, as well as the Metroplex figure right here. You know, basically these are toys, but in the hands of young kids, you know, past, present, and future, you know, they could get wrecked. They could lose value, and I think that's why you're seeing more people, more adults like myself, going out of our way, to purchase, things like this thing here, this Sequestria, Cantalot Sequestria combo pack, as well as, like I said, this here, that over there, and even that big thing there, of Twilight. You're seeing us purchase them because we know that, we could take care of them. We could take care of them. We can, make sure they stay in pristine condition, even if they get a little dusty. We understand, being kids ourselves at, one point, 40, 20, 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, we understand now that the best way to, keep, toys in pristine condition that you want to keep, keep with you even for years and decades to come, is to just, not, not rough them up, not, throw them around and stuff. I mean, the same could be said for plushes here. Plushes are toys too, but in the arms and the hands and arm in the hands of a kid that doesn't understand the value, they could get ripped up. I mean, you look at Applejack here. If a kid had that, there's a good chance that hat wouldn't be there anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, and again, I think in my opinion, that's why a lot of these articles from the New York Post, New York Times, and other places are basically reporting on the fact that we as adults are outpacing, and outbuying toys, more so than young kids, would go and do so, more so than preschoolers would go and do so, even if they had the help of their parents. I mean, the fact that when you watch this video by Clownfish TV, this one right here, the fact you hear them reading and talking about the article that discussed this, and they're talking about somebody from Hasbro that's going out and creating their own company, to license a lot of these properties from Hasbro and other places. And Geeky Sparkles got excited when she saw that one of the properties they were licensing and bringing back was Seaweeds. And, for her to get excited about that, that tells you that she understands that back when she was a kid, seaweeds were a big deal, but she didn't understand the value until now. She understands the value. I mean, that's why they said that the next day after they recorded that video, they were going to go shopping, for toys and everything, but they weren't going to say whether they were going shopping, but they were going to look for toys to collect, not just for themselves, but for the kids who they're helping to learn the value of toys, how much, these toys can, mean if you keep them pristine and everything, especially for your future. And I say that because I have my family, members of my family that tell me, I have things here I could sell, and that's true. But here's the thing, when it comes to that, how do I know when I'm selling it, it's not going to end up in the hands of somebody that doesn't, know the value of it, or they're going to give it to their kid who doesn't know the value. I'm just saying. I'm taking what I've learned as a kid, and, applying that to, what I do now. I mean, this is also why you see a lot of things like this, and this, all these kind of things being created because of the fact that, the toy market, Hasbro, Mattel, all of them, they understand that the toy market now, the people that value toys and collect, toys as collectibles more so than anything, are adults that grew up and learned from their mistakes. But yeah, I totally get where they're coming from with this article, but let me know what your thoughts are. And until then, I am out.